this is just, because they tell you never to meet your idols and all that, and this is one of those occasions where I actually get to meet my idol, and this is crazy. So yeah, meeting your idols is, people always like tell you don't meet your idols, but that's never really happened to me until this moment. I'm interviewing. Well, I have the privilege of interviewing the head of the women's technical committee, Sacchi. She's a controversial figure to many people currently, but to me, I have always just adored. Well, since I came aware of her existence, have been just enamored by her effervescence and just need to experience gymnastics in a very innovative way, I guess. And I'm just rambling because I'm really nervous. But she should be joining us here in 5 minutes. So I went ahead and started recording because I don't want to get anything wrong. I don't want anything to go wrong. Yeah, I'm really nervous. I'm really nervous. I'm excited. I'm nervous. And so, yeah. Please remember to like, follow, and subscribe. And make sure you subscribe to my other podcast called If These Girls Could Talk. Oh my God, there she is. Okay.
I'm mute.
There you are. I hear you.
Okay.
I hear you.
Good.
Now.
So good morning again. For me,
morning.
at least.
How are you?
I'm fine. Working, preparing the next judges' courses. Fine.
Oh, so exciting. Okay, so let's just jump into this interview. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know it's early for you, and it's very early for me. So let's just jump into it. How did you first get involved in gymnastics? Like, what were those early years of training for you?
By chance, because my parents were coaches. They had a club here in Italy. Honestly, I didn't like much the physical work, so I was more studying for this kind of things. But one day for the team, they need a vaulter. I had strong legs, so they said, okay, come and do at least one handspring for the team. And this was the beginning at 9 years old.
Really? At 9?
Yeah.
So you had a late start to your gymnastics career, actually.
Yes, but you have to consider that at that time, it was not so common to start very early. Right. So around 7, 8 normally was the correct timing.
And so, like, how did that transition from you, like, getting into the sport and then representing Italy, becoming one of the national team members?
National team members, again, very, very late, because I was not a special gymnast, honestly, a normal one, but very consistent. And one time the national team said, okay, let's try to make a selection. So we were everybody to Rome. And I, as usual, consistent. So I have been selected 2015. No, 2015. It was for the, no, 15 is now. It was for the Mediterranean Games. So it was 75. And I joined the national team for these Mediterranean Games and then for Montreal Olympics.
Yeah.
So that's it, not a long career.
How were the Olympics for? I mean, you were there when Nadia got her 10 and then Nelly Kim got her 10. How was being in the arena at the time? Like, how was that atmosphere?
Oh, the atmosphere was fantastic. And for me, coming from Italy and from a small city, can you imagine? Everything was, wow, wonderful. I was almost lost looking around and entering the training halls when Russia was there, Romania was there. We were looking to them, and we didn't want much to train because how to compare myself with them. So the coach pushed them, don't look, train. You have to do what you can.
So yeah, like, okay, because you were there and then you experienced all that. How did that happen that you went from being a gymnast to a judge?
I move from gymnast to be a coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, first step was to become a coach in my club. Then I had quite a good number of gymnasts in the junior or seniors teams, national teams in the selection. So one time, at that time at least, it was not possible to bring many coaches to the competition. So
Right.
only the two for the team. So my technical director, the Italian technical director at that time, said, I was very young, honestly, said, okay, you have gymnasts in the team. You cannot be one of the head coaches. Why not to become a judge? So you can join the team as a judge. So I started to become a judge.
And how was that journey? Like, I, I imagine back then it was a lot different than it is now. But how was learning about like the technical side of it? Was it difficult, or was it like something that you were already like trying to learn about?
No, the technical part was not difficult because as gymnast and as coach, you know very well the technical part.
Right.
Okay, you can learn the more difficult skills, but working with the gymnast, you have the idea of what is an element. You don't need, like now, we teach that stretch is when hollow dish, arch slightly, but deductions when you are a coach, you know. The
Right.
difficulty is to put the coach's knowledge to the judge's part
Right.
because not everybody has the same knowledge, actually. But for me to move from the coaching to the judging was not difficult. And my mom was an international judge. So she was really tough pushing me.
Oh, I can imagine.
I was prepared. When I move, I was well prepared.
I get. Okay, I'm gonna deviate a little bit because I mean I fell in love with the way you explain things through that judge's seminar that I edited for y'all, and I was just so fascinated by like how not only did you speak to them in such a way that it was easy to understand, but what drove my attention was that you were very certain that people understand that there's different techniques for different skills, right? There's like the snap technique, and you really harkened on the fact that it's like, no, this is an actual technique that gymnasts use because it makes it easier for them to do the skill, right?
Yeah, right, correct. But at that time, the gymnastic was not so difficult as
Right,
today.
right,
Now there was a growing in technique evolution in technique and also evolution in elements. At that
yes,
time, we had also the 10 as the ceiling.
right.
So this also limited the creativity in new elements. So the direction changed totally from there to now.
That's okay. That's a question that several fans had when trying to prepare for this interview. What can you, or what's happening? In, let me rephrase that. What are you doing in order to incentivize difficulty in new elements? Like, is there a provision in the new code looking forward that is going to incentivize those risky elements, or is there any plan to do so?
Mm. Anytime we receive a new elements, at first we try to look the progression. So mostly are not really new elements, are a combination or a variation of existing elements.
Right.
Today is quite difficult to create from zero a new element. There is already a huge amount of elements in the code. So most of the time they had a half turn or they change the body position from tuck to pike, from pike to stretch. So mostly this is the tendency. So how much possible we try to respect the progression. Sometimes maybe we don't like much, but taking away the idea that I don't like, or
Right.
this is too easy. So just follow the progression to have some logic. Then there are some, especially recently on vault,
Mm-hmm.
some very difficult and risky vaults. We can speak about the double front or the double back. And these, when you see how they perform, like Simone or Produnova, looks fine, easy. But in the past, we had already an experience with the double front that because at the beginning the difficulty score was very, very high,
Yeah.
gymnasts without the same preparation tried this
Yeah.
vault, and we had some really scary moment for the health of the gymnast
Yeah.
that look really dangerous. So the only way to convince coaches not to go in the direction when the gymnast is not ready, because we cannot go to a coach and say, don't let this do to your gymnast. And I remember this one landing feet and head together.
Yeah.
So
I know. I
this
know
was,
exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. So we started to think that when it's really risky for the health, going to potential dead, we need to lower a little bit the difficulty score, and maybe the coaches will move in another direction. And
Okay.
this was also the consideration when Simone arrived with this double pike,
Right.
because looking to her is wonderful. She
Yeah.
can do it
She's
for
a
sure.
singular
Amazing.
talent. A singular talent.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Unique, I can
Yes.
say, at the moment, at least.
Yeah.
One day, you don't know, but
Right.
today,
Right. We
she's
don't know
unique.
if there's a little girl somewhere in, like, Romania or in Russia or wherever they may be that could be better than Simone. We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Even US in the
Yeah.
future. But this was also a consideration, kind to reduce a little bit the score,
Okay.
not to let other gymnasts trying. And actually was a good decision, because I already received an information that one coach decided to let a gymnast try because she's powerful, and even in the pit, so okay, try. And the gymnast landed very bad, so she stayed 2 weeks at the hospital, and thanks God she was not paralyzed. So the decision was good. I know
Yeah.
sometimes for the fun is difficult, because they are impressed, they see, oh,
Right.
wonderful,
Yeah.
and they like, how,
Flashy elements.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Flashy elements.
they like this. Wow, I
Yeah.
like too, but I need to think also to the others that are not so well prepared or so talented,
Right.
to make the life of other gymnasts easier.
I can imagine
It's
that was a
safer.
consideration with Simone's double off beam as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Actually, was sometimes it's funny, because from one side, the fan or Simone as well wanted higher DV.
Yeah.
From the other side, I receive letters also from parents. Why you allowed this kind of dismount on beam? Because if my daughter miss one foot, she will land on the head. You have to delete all the double saltos from beam dismount. It's not easy to
Yeah.
stay in between.
Yeah,
So,
that brings up an interesting question. So, as far as the spotting, because there was spotting issues with Simone and her coach Laurent Landy, and she received the tariff for having him spot her. Why is it that some uh, events are able to be spotted on like bars, but not
mhm.
for all the other events as well?
Maybe I don't understand the question.
So why is spotting allowed on like
Aha.
bars or well, yeah, just bars, but not like beam or floor or vault?
Okay. Actually, I don't have the answer. This is coming
Oh,
from the long past,
okay,
probably comparing bars with the high bar,
right,
because falling from the very high, the
yeah,
high bar, can be dangerous for the gymnast in landing.
right,
But this is not really spotting, it's just staying there in case of a bad fall.
A provision, if you will.
Yeah, they cannot touch the gymnast, otherwise there is a big deduction. So
Yes.
just to prevent. Recently, with all the safeguarding problem that you probably know around the world, we allowed, starting now from the Olympic Games in Paris, to use also this we call spotting mat, is an extra soft mat during the touch warm up, because it seems that now in some country the coach cannot anymore spot the gymnast, because you don't know exactly when you spot, you just think to save her,
Right.
and maybe you touch some part of the body that is not appropriate.
Yeah.
So now we allowed this soft mat to be added in the touch warm up. And the other apparatus, I don't think at the end we are going to a show time. You know better than me.
Yeah.
So probably for television, it's not nice to see coaches running
Right.
everywhere. Can you imagine on floor running from one acro line
From
to
one,
another
yeah.
acro line? Just stay in there
Yeah.
in case. So
So
no, I don't think we will go in this direction.
okay. What is the most difficult part about judging to you? I mean, having been a coach and a gymnast, and then having to go to the other side of it, like, what is the most difficult part about judging?
I think if I look to myself, the consistency. So the most difficult part, because you can study everything. Today there are a lot of tools where you can learn. Still, I suggest that the best way to learn is to be in the gym, because there you practice, you train the eyes, and training the eyes in the video is not the same that training eyes
At
live.
all. At all.
It's different. So for me is the consistency throughout a competition, especially qualification is very long, and this variation in the gymnast execution of the same element sometimes is very, very small. So this also for the judges sitting there is very, very difficult. Even in the e-score, sometimes you could be influenced by the wow effect, or also from your culture, because we have judges coming from countries, and good judges, where the level of gymnastics is not so high.
Right.
So for them probably is even more difficult to understand when they see something exceptional, they like, but there are still deductions. I can say anyway that in Paris Olympic Games, the e-judges, they were 30. We have in FIG a judges evaluation program called JEP, electronic system, so objective, with parameters for some formula inside that I don't know. And from the 30 e-judges, 21 came out with excellent result. So it means that their standards was really, really high.
That's
and
exceptional.
then the remaining, were very good. So I think the standard, okay, of course, we selected the best judges in the world.
Right.
This, of course, also we have to say, but they did a great job.
Okay, so just so we can like get past it, because I know people want me to ask about this, the floor final. Personally, the thing I was most interested about was, did you ever find out the name of the judge that accepted the inquiry?
No.
To this day, no, we don't know who it was.
Okay.
It's a lot.
This is very hard on my shoulder.
Yeah, I can imagine, Donatella.
Yeah, I'm not laughing at all, honestly. And I can say I'm very, very sorry for this gymnast. Really, really sorry.
Yeah, it's been
This inquiry officer, I don't know the name, because actually my responsibility is the judges panel.
right.
At the Olympic Games, all these extra position out of the E and D judges are coming from the local organization.
Okay.
So in this case, even line and time are provided by the French Federation.
Mhm.
So we have these ones that we call line and time judges,
Mhm.
and we have the assistant, which are the secretaries at the apparatus working with the Omega system, the inquiry officer, and the ones placing the volt numbers. So these, I just check the list when I receive all the name of all the French judges. I check that everybody has an appropriate brevet for the position.
Mhm.
Then I receive in Paris the name for the position of line and time,
Mhm.
and the others are brevet judges. It's fine. So to know who was there at that moment,
Yeah.
you need to ask you, not
Omega.
you, but somebody has to
Yeah.
ask to the local organization, and probably is the only way to find out.
Right. And so, okay, there was an issue because the system you guys use is Longines, right? For
Um,
judges.
no, now is Swiss timing.
Swiss timing. Okay.
It's
Well,
the same people, same
oh,
systems,
okay.
everybody. Just change the name from Longines to Swiss timing.
Swiss timing. So Swiss timing, they are able to block inquiry if it's at a time. It officially rejects it, right?
Now, this is the problem.
Ooh.
This was the main problem.
Yes.
Until now, yes.
I'm just like, okay, tell me more.
Uh, and,
Yeah.
uh,
It's difficult.
until now, we had never problems,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
So no way to realize that one day is possible to have a problem.
Right.
In this Swiss timing, which at the Olympic is Omega, same people, same everything, just another
Different
name.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, because we change names but are the same.
Yeah.
This, let's call Omega system,
Hmm.
has a block when we are in the D score or in the E.
Mm.
D is the difficulty,
Yeah.
E is execution. So there are parameters that when the supervisor and the D panel, depending from the competition phase, the difference between them is too high, the system automatically block. And I have a red square telling me that the difference is too high, so I need to go recheck and solve who is right. Sometimes
Hmm.
one of these two, sometimes maybe both of them are somehow incorrect.
Yeah.
About the inquiry, this is also an electronic system.
Hmm.
So the inquiry officer at the table has a tablet and must enter the inquiry at the moment it comes. There are two steps. One is the verbal inquiry.
Yeah.
So the time the coach comes and declare there is an inquiry. He would like to submit an inquiry about the D score
Yeah.
or revision line and time. Revision means that if you are wrong, you don't pay. This is the name revision and
Yeah.
inquiry. This is the difference. Money is the difference.
Money's always the difference.
Yeah,
So
make a
yeah.
big difference. Okay. Then, after this verbal inquiry, when the inquiry officer push, okay, there is a verbal inquiry, on my tablet, I receive a small sentence, verbal inquiry, and a few dots running. After that, the coach move to the written inquiry.
Yeah.
So has to tell to the inquiry officer the proposed score. So I don't know. I see the routine. Maybe the judges didn't recognize something. So I saw that the D score is 5.8. I request 5.9. And the inquiry officer put into the system 5.9. At that moment, I receive the verbal inquiry disappear from my screen, and comes the name of the gymnast, the country, and the score given by the D panel, the jury, the score given by the supervisor, and the score proposed by the coach.
Mhm.
And then at that moment, I go back and check. Sometimes, especially in the finals, we are already prepared because we have time to judge live,
Yeah.
waiting for the score to go back and already checking the video. Anyway, the moment I receive the written inquiry, for me, the first step is okay because
Yeah.
no block, no flashing something, and nobody, even verbally or formally, so with a paper, came to say, listen, it's up to you, but the inquiry was at 1 minute 04. This is
Yeah.
the problem, the 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I see the written inquiry, correct, wrong, for me, the first step was okay. So I suppose, correctly or wrong, that everything before was done correct.
Right.
Because until that moment, nobody could realize that everything is moving
Yeah.
without any flashing signal, something.
Bouncing
And
it back and saying it's out of time or whatever.
yes,
Yeah. So okay, it's a terrible situation for all three gymnasts involved because
oh
they've
yes,
all faced like whatever might be hatred at the hand of the fans or just journalists. Like and I think we've lost really what is at the heart of the matter, which are the gymnasts themselves. What is your ideal uh, or ideal outcome? Like to you, what would be ideal for it to happen with the whole situation?
okay. Number one, the ideal is to review the systems. The
Yes,
number one.
yes,
With Sabrina Manica Voinea, actually, the problem was totally different
yeah,
because was the right of the coach to submit the review of the line deduction,
yeah,
but she didn't do at all.
yeah,
So in this case, there is no authority for me to interfere.
yeah,
Can you imagine giving or taking out a medal because without any request, even worse, I
yeah,
interfere and change the score?
yeah,
Absolutely. So this case was slightly different.
yeah,
And it was the responsibility of the coach, honestly. This
yeah.
time is not my responsibility at all.
Right.
I
I agree.
uh, I could not interfere in any case.
I agree.
For the other two, the problem is very complex,
Yeah,
and I'm sorry for both of them. I'm sorry for Anna Barbosu that jump on the podium with
yeah,
the flag celebrating when the inquiry was still running.
yeah.
This I don't know who pushed her to do it,
I guess
but
it's
this is
excitement.
another. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
another very bad things. We need to
yeah,
review this procedure.
yeah,
That even we were late, so probably people wanted to rush to the our ceremony.
yeah,
But if there is an inquiry, you have to wait.
yeah.
You cannot. And actually, one video proves that Rebecca Andrade, somebody went to her saying, okay, you are gold, celebrate. And she raised the head and said, look, there is still an inquiry running. And
She's
she didn't,
incredible. Just 2 seconds. Rebecca's incredible.
yeah.
She's the consummate gymnast. But go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, Rebecca has experience, has
Yeah,
a big experience. Compare with Anna Barbosu, that probably not enough. This was, for me, even worse than everything else
yeah, yeah,
because then taking her out, waiting, and then changing the suppose the potential medals of course, was the worst part.
Yeah.
I'm very, very sorry for the gymnast. It's not
Yes.
true that we don't think to the gymnast. I'm also part of the safeguarding in FIG. So I'm really concerned about the gymnast, but not only about the gymnast, about coaches, about judges.
Yeah.
Safeguarding is for everybody,
Because these
honestly.
are people at the end of the day. We are all human. We all have emotions. No one deserves to feel that way ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
I can tell you that everybody feels their responsibility and everybody tries to do the best,
Yeah.
their best. This is what I can say. Everybody tries to do their best.
But there is human error.
There are human errors, and there are also bad coincidences
Yeah.
sometimes that don't help.
So what changes are being made to make sure it doesn't happen again?
Now, I had the Women's Technical Committee meeting the first week of September in FIG office.
Mhm.
We discuss internally a lot. I had also a call with the competition commission,
Mhm.
and we are preparing a draft to be submitted to the executive committee now in October. How to implement the system, how to implement the system for checking the line and time errors, because one day can be the time. Who knows now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's gonna be so
So,
much timing going on from now on.
uh,
It's gonna be insane. Yeah.
so to implement this system, so the line judges may have a better view, so better camera, better position, more cameras probably, or maybe somebody can suggest a different system to check the line error. Somebody already suggested put a laser in the.
Yeah, but yeah, like all other sports have like motion sensing uh I guess evaluations. Like why is there nothing like that in gymnastics?
Yeah, could
And what
be.
happened with Fujitsu? Are we gonna get robot judges or no?
Fujitsu will support judges at the moment in the D score. We are still working with them.
Right.
So it will be a big support, yes, in case of discrepancies.
Yeah.
But back to the line, the
Yeah.
problem with the sensor is that we have 2 feet.
Yeah.
Sorry to say.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
So, and the deduction is different when you are out partly with one or with two.
Yeah.
So this sensor has to realize also if it's one or two, not only out or in.
Yeah.
It's complex, every time complex.
Yeah.
About this inquiry, uh, I have a proposal uh, managed with the technical committee and also with the sport managers that I have in FIG office to make simple and to have somehow or a block or flashing or something when is out of the time. So
Yeah.
already in the tablet at the inquiry officer, our proposal is to have the time running so the coach can see exactly that when the time expires become red and the coach or the inquiry officer cannot enter
Yeah.
anymore anything into the tablet. So everything stop already there. Then this will come somehow to the superior jury, and in case of exceptional circumstances, we can reopen the system. But
Go ahead.
but is the future now. We
Right.
learn. As my character, I know is maybe not nice to say, and probably the fan are not happy. But every time there is something, we need to take opportunity to improve. It's
Yeah.
just an opportunity to improve and be better. Unfortunately, it's heavy.
It is. It is. It is.
Sorry, this is my
No.
husband.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're fine.
Okay, just
Sorry.
that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Okay. Let's move forward because I know it was. I mean, we could sit here and talk about that Paris final for the rest of time, but we have to move forward because I don't have much time with you, and I want to be respectful of your time. So here are some fan questions because people have so many things to ask about this code and the artistry. So, Ad Band Cat Makeup wonders, would a video replay on Vault be more effective, or would introducing double deductions provide a clear scoring system for Vault?
Okay. To review Volt, Volt is already a fast apparatus. Okay. Now the judges have to enter separate phases, no more the total deduction, but phase by phase. So this already takes more time for them.
Yeah.
If we go to a video review for each e-judge, it means that each e-judge must look in the screen she has in front and see the video. Somebody can be fast, somebody can be not so fast. So probably slower everything on Volt, which normally is a fast apparatus. About doubling the deductions, actually, think that it's not only one apparatus. We have 4 apparatus. And every time we prepare the new code of points, we try to balance the final score on each apparatus. Mm-hmm. Not to give an advantage, as in the past on Volt, for example, exactly Volt, to have their higher scores than the other apparatus. So this bring an advantage, especially in the team competition, even in the all around. So we try to balance. Doubling the Volt deductions, this will place Volt lower in this case. And you cannot compare anymore Volt with the other 3 apparatus.
Right.
Maybe is not a good solution, but I appreciate the suggestions.
Yes. Okay, so at Catfish Crenshaw wonders, why has ECAP been applied to dance elements and transitions on bars? Does this limit gymnast creativity?
Allora, the cap is because the consideration, especially for the dance elements, is that the acro elements require long training and at the high level are also risky somehow.
Yeah.
The dance elements should require long training when high difficulty, but since are not so risky, the maximum you can lose is the difficulty value. So you go to a different difficulty value.
Right.
So is somehow not easier, is not the correct word, but anyway, the attempt to dance elements is possible, and the attempt to the acro elements is not possible. Mm-hmm. So we receive recently some submission of new dance elements that are clear just an attempt to increase the DV without having a good execution. So for a while we said, okay, stop. We are artistic gymnastics, so if you want to submit something, should be really something with a value, not just to say now because the progression I want an F. Right. And the other decision was because we receive dance elements on beam in side position with ring. Oh, and the consideration was that if you miss the beam, you land probably with your chin, and this is really risky. And this is the reason we said, okay, stop, don't try these things that one gymnast may be, but then if one time you miss the beam, could be the last time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because I mean, it shows that you're not only thinking about like, okay, so you want to do the dance element, but the things that could happen if that skill goes wrong. So that's taking that into consideration. Okay, now that makes sense to me. Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
about the transition low to high on bars, also are not compare with the flight on high bar
Yeah.
that today we have very nice skills and very difficult. Probably is not the same. So also don't go too much in that direction. There is not much space, but everybody enjoys the flights on high bar. So wonderful.
So here's another point, because another one of the questions that we have is, what inspired acrolines to needing a minimum of 2 flight elements in order to fulfill CRs? Why can a running double front be counted for its E value, but not towards the double salto or forwards requirement? And that's by Fabricio Novas.
This was a decision before I became president, but I was
Yes.
still part of the technical committee because to perform backwards,
Mhm.
you need at least the round off because you need to
Right.
connect. To
Right.
perform the forward, you just run, you are strong in the legs,
Yeah.
and you can do the double front. But are you really technically good in these forward elements? So at least you have to perform something basic like the handspring to go in this salto. So this was
Oh.
okay. We
Yeah.
still, if it's not the last element in the routines, we still recognize the value. Why not?
Right.
Because anyway, the gymnast is doing something that is good. But to prove that you have ability for the backward and for the forward, at least two elements must be performed. This was the decision at that time.
Right.
So to get the CR is not enough to have good legs and powerful legs,
Mhm.
but to prove that you come at least from this preparatory element.
Okay. And just 'cause, there's way too many fan questions. The last one I'm going to ask is, can you clearly define what the judges evaluate as the start and end of a turning leap? Is it dependent on the run direction where the foot is takeoff, or in how much leeway is given for short foot position if the hips are around? So I mean that's the question
Mm,
of the Gaussian essentially is what's being
yes,
asked.
yes. This is complex. It's
Yeah,
really complex,
yeah.
uh, and
It's a
not.
difficult skill. You are spinning 1.5 times in the air.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So there are also here there are different technique and there
yeah,
are also biomechanical explanation. I'm not an expert in biomechanics, sorry. So I'm just trying to stay basic.
right.
Okay. The main problem today we have on floor is this Gaussian, the tourgeté, and the switch lip full turn. These
Yes.
are the two elements that are critical. Even before what's happened at the floor final in our meetings, the technical committee discussed long about it because for these elements, the rule says that there is also a tolerance in the
Hmm.
degrees for completion of the turns. All these turning elements, dance elements, have a tolerance. We don't like much because
Because
it's
it's
difficult.
objective. Yeah,
When
it's objective
you
and
go
objective.
to angles,
Yeah.
what is 29? What is 30, 31?
No one has a protractor, then it's like, yeah,
And they are turning really fast.
yeah.
So then in the code we are using today, the reference are the hips or the shoulders. Even worse because you are in the air and
Yeah,
you have not really the idea
yeah,
where are these 30 degrees hip and shoulders. So this is why we change for the new code, but already before the floor, going to the feet. Because at the landing, the feet can tell you exactly in the reference with the
okay,
space, you can measure better the 30 degrees,
yeah,
we guess. Then there is the problem of the entry. When to calculate the entry?
yeah,
And I had, the technical committee had long discussion about when to define the entry, because the switch full, you switch the leg,
Yes.
and then you have to go down and change and start the turn.
Yeah.
With the tour jeté, actually you anticipate the torque action because you are turning in the same direction.
Yeah.
So when the gymnast enter in the last step, she's more turn to do, more
U-turn.
anticipate the
Yeah.
entry. So this is why placing the foot, hips, shoulders, and leg
Then
are
before the
already
takeoff, right?
turning even before the takeoff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to understand this technically before thinking that could be good, wrong. Actually, we will try with the new code and new judges instruction to be more and more precise, but there will be always in gymnastic a borderline situation.
Yeah.
And
And you always
so,
want to give it in the benefit of the doubt to the gymnast.
yes, this is also
Right.
a rule in the code of points that says in case of doubt, you go in favor of the gymnast.
Okay. So speaking of the new code, what are the most significant changes for you? Like, what is like these are like the biggest changes in the new code? Because I mean, we are. Well, yeah, okay. Little story. Yesterday, we were because we're streaming Northern European Championships, right? They're going on right now. Right after this, we're gonna go start streaming it. It's so excited. I love the Isle of Man girls. But one of the things I was like, why aren't guys doing more holds? Because I was thinking the new code has started, but no, we're still in 2024 code. The code doesn't start until January. So,
Yes,
what is the biggest changes in this new code that you anticipate being for the gymnast next year?
there are not dramatic changes, I can
Right.
say, because in my experience, in the previous experience, anytime we make dramatic changes, we lose a generation of gymnasts. And
Thank
this is
you.
not good. It's
Thank
not
you.
it's not good because today my statistic proves that at the Olympic Games, but also at the World Championship, all this cycle, the average age of the gymnast is very close to be 22. So we are out of this young gymnast
Yeah.
that was in the past too young. We press the young gymnast. Actually, we are at the 22, so mature and adult gymnast, which is good. Still, we have to preserve some young one because in some area in the world, we know the problem with the culture or religion. So we need to preserve to be globally to satisfy all the world, let's say, but the direction is going to increase. And not making dramatic changes into the code helps. So the gymnasts can continue to stay in activity and why not one day to become coaches or
Yeah.
judges if they want. This is kind of the philosophy in the back of the code. Then we look what is good, what is not good, in which direction we can push a little bit more. And these are the changes.
Yeah.
We realize on Volt that there are not many gymnasts with the current rules trying to qualify to apparatus finals. So in this case, now we change and we said, okay, not two different requirements, but only one to be from different groups. But still considering, and we are back to the floor about the
Yeah.
composition requirements, that to be really the specialist on that apparatus, there will be still a bonus, a small bonus, and to
Because
encourage.
I love vault. Vault's my favorite event. Like I love vault. So good, good.
So there will be still a small bonus for gymnasts that are really specialists and can perform forward saltos and backward saltos
Yeah.
to make the difference between that one that will do only backward saltos.
Right. So okay. What changes are you most looking forward to seeing in the new code? I mean, like there's for me again, I love alt, but I love on like Beam how it has to be more artistic, more dance. Like it's not so much about like the element, but it's about an artistic interpretation of the routine.
Mm. Yes, Beam has a totally different philosophy
Yeah,
than the other apparatus. I was a coach. So the main rule of the beam is stay on the beam.
yeah,
So in this case, this sentence has a lot of meanings.
yeah,
Number one, difficulties. So not to increase so much the difficulties because the dangerous is to fall, to have a fall.
yeah.
Even Simone, this surprised me.
Oh
This
my God, the
told me,
Beam
oh
final.
God, not
Oh,
possible.
the Beam final was crazy.
Yeah, actually, yes. So
Oh,
you see, the philosophy stay on the
yeah,
beam is
yeah,
still the main one.
yeah.
And this involves also the artistry part.
Yes.
So you can train the gymnast. I know because I sometimes go to our national training center in Italy and I teach to our gymnasts to be fluent, not to stop, to
Right.
move more with the
No
body.
coffee breaks.
But then when I go there in competition and I see them, why? They are totally different
Yeah.
because when they are there, the main problem is stay on the beam. So
Yeah.
if they are feeling not sure, they stop. They try to move a little bit less. I'm speaking about our gymnast.
Yeah.
Could be the same for others. Some trying, so the process is quite slow, but will come. Much better floor, I can
Yeah. Yeah.
say.
Oh my God.
Generally,
There's been so much improvement in the artistry on floor. Oh my God. Like even in the Northern European Championships, these girls are dancing, Donatella. They are actually dancing. And I'm getting chills. I love that. Because to me, yeah, floor difficulty, triple double, all that gorgeous, fantastic. I love a girl that can tell a story through a routine. Oh my God. I love that. Like Manila Esposito, I love her. I
yeah.
love her. But how? Okay, I want to ask you, how was that moment for you when Alice won gold on beam, and then you got to present her with the medal and Manila as well?
Okay, until they did the routine, I was FIG, so totally
Yeah,
aseptic. And that moment, it was just a matter of judging.
yeah.
Then, when I knew before that I have to do the award on beam, so I said, okay, I will give the medal to Simone.
Right, 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 right.
This was my
Yeah,
original thinking.
yeah.
Then Beam was totally different in the final.
Yeah.
So finally, I said, okay, go to award. Oh, wow, Alice and Manila. I said, okay, now I go there. I know what to say. And then I arrived there and
It's sentimental.
I
Like,
told them, I don't say anything. Otherwise, I start to cry.
yeah,
So
because I
I
mean,
didn't say anything and just put the medals.
because it was one of the. I mean, I can only imagine. Like again, no one thought that it was going to happen, but then it happened. And you're like, these are incredible gymnasts. I mean, Alicia's sister had just gone down previously, so like this for her singularly, such an emotional moment. You can just see it because she had just missed out on an all-around medal, and then to see Alicia just get the medal. Oh my God! And I mean, I have always sang Manila's high praises because Manila is an exceptional gymnast, so young, so incredible, Queen of Europe, love her so much. But like just to see them both be able to medal on a team event, oh my God, I love that moment so much for you, for y'all,
Yeah,
for
but
the whole
you have to
federation.
know what was in the back of this. Because in
Yeah,
Italy, all the time, uh, people say, you are very strong on bars, you are strong on vault, you are strong on floor, your weak apparatus is beam. And this is a meme running in Italy for
yeah.
years. You are weak on beam, you are weak on beam, you have always fallen beam, you don't do
And
well
they
beam.
Olympic medalists, both of them, both
Yes,
of them.
finally,
Ah,
we stopped everybody, I hope.
I hope so too. So just to last thing I'm going to ask you, last few things I'm going to ask you. So because we have the European Championships we have to get to, what is your favorite skill? Like, just your
Mm,
favorite skill to watch, I guess.
difficult. In this moment, I think I like on floor the double stretch with twist or double
Ooh,
twist.
your
Yes.
least favorite skill.
Yeah. In this moment, yes.
What is your least
Because
favorite skill?
this, when it's well done,
Oh,
is a really,
beautiful.
really complex element. The
Yes.
body, it requires a lot of training.
Carlos Yulos is beautiful.
Yeah.
What is your least, like, which skill do you just do not like?
Dance elements.
Like wolf turns? Thank you. Who is your favorite gymnast? No, and that's a bad question. I don't want to ask that question. Who is a gymnast that you like watching a lot?
Mm, I cannot say because
Right.
every gymnast is unique in their style
Yeah.
and has different abilities, different qualities. So I like to watch a gymnast that like to perform, and
Yeah.
you can see when they like to perform and show up.
Yeah.
I like gymnasts that try their best.
Yeah.
And I like the gymnasts that even when there is a mistake or a fall, they stand up again and I'm here again. I'm
I
back.
love that. I love that.
I like this gymnast.
Donatella, thank you so much for your time. I thoroughly appreciate it. I hope we got as many fan questions for you, the fans watching. And is there anything else you want the gym trainer to know moving forward before I let you
Mm,
go?
love gymnastics, love what you are doing. Don't criticize much the judges, poor judges.
Poor
Poor.
judges. You deserve a hug. Thank you so much, Donatella. I adore you, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for you for this opportunity.
Thank you. I will see you later, Donatella. Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
That was our interview with Donatella Sacchi. I can't believe that actually happened. It was such a fever dream for so long, and then it happened. Um, I really hope you enjoyed it. I really tried to get through all the fan questions, but there was a lot of them, and I only had it for a brief moment, and then we went straight into streaming Northern European Championships. But I hope I did well. I hope I made you guys proud, and um, I hope that later down the line we can interview her again. But yeah, that was it. Hope you can like it enough to give us a like, a comment, subscribe, all those things. Um, and yeah, that's it for at night. My name is Adex, and I hope you have a great flippin' day, morning, night, wherever you're at, or wherever you're watching this. And if no one has told us today, I think you're awesome. I think you're worthy of praise and adoration. I think all your hopes, likes, uh, aspirations, dreams, and everything are so valid and worthy of being praised and lauded. And yeah, so go accomplish those things. And that's it. I don't know how else to end it. So thanks for watching.